Hello, 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 hello. Hello, internet. So I guess this video is partially selfish because I think it will help me express some of my feelings and thoughts that I've needed to get out for a while now. But my community always tells me that they appreciate when I'm genuine and authentic, and so maybe this will give you guys some insight into my stream that you didn't know before. Or if you don't watch my stream and you somehow stumbled upon this video, welcome. You're probably going to be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But you know what? Maybe you can get some value out of my emotional ranting too. I don't know. I think it would make the most sense for me to start with some background as to why I started streaming in the first place. I remember back when video game rentals were a thing, like Blockbuster. My mom would rent a game every Friday, and she would try to get an idea of like what I liked or an upcoming game that I wanted. And she would hide it under my pillow so that when I got home from school, I could look under the pillow and see a new game there. My dad had these like CDs full of like hundreds and hundreds of DOS games for the computer that I would play. Anyway, I guess my point is video games have always been like a really core part of my life. I've always been really passionate about them and I love them. I think growing up, I was given this idea that video games were not really a viable career path. Or if they were, it was from a game development standpoint and not actually playing the video games, which is what I liked doing. And that was always my thing when I was younger. I always thought, well, I don't want to make them, I just want to play them. And you know, I was taught that that doesn't contribute anything to society, so like that's not gonna be a valid job, you know? But still, video games were like the only thing that I ever found myself really loving and feeling passionate about. And I just remember always being so confused about the idea of a career path because I could never find anything that I felt as passionately about as video games. And I guess I just always felt like everyone around me had some sort of idea of what they wanted to do when they grew up. Even if it wasn't necessarily a passion, they had like some sort of drive or like vision. Like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a biologist, I want to be this, I want to be that. And I just never felt that pull anywhere. And it was hard because sometimes it made me feel like some kind of like nothing person. The term nothing person is something that I think about in my head a lot. And I don't know if it sounds weird, but like I always felt like I was lacking this like core motivation center or drive or like something that would help me contribute to society better that everyone else had and I didn't. Like in my brain, it was always just like arrows pointing every direction into like different paths or like things that I could do, but I had no idea how to just like pick one. It was almost like decision paralysis. When I was in high school, I remember finding this site called Justin.tv, which from what I understand is like the predecessor to Twitch. And I just remember watching these guys play video games in front of audiences and seeing them make money from it. And there was like this light bulb that went off in my head. But it was kind of like a broken, shattered light bulb because I had been told my whole life that you can't make money or contribute anything by playing video games, and here these people were doing just that. It wasn't this like positive aha moment of, oh, I can do that too. It was more like this extreme feeling of betrayal by the world for like instilling this idea in me to not follow my passions. And then I didn't. In my head, I kind of cut that passion of gaming away. And that was back during the big college scam that all millennials are familiar with, where they pushed really, really hard for us to all just go to college. And once you go to college, you're going to get a good job. It doesn't matter what you study, you just need to go. And then college degrees are super valuable and you'll make six figures right out of college and you'll be set for life. And all you need to do to succeed is just go to college. That's it. Nothing else. Just go to college. Oh, you can't afford it? Born into poverty? Just take out loans. Take out loans because you know what? You'll be able to pay all those loans back once you make your six figures straight out of college. So there's no problem at all. Just do it. Just go to college. Just go to college. And we all know how that turned out for everyone. I got a bachelor's degree in a field that was supposed to be in demand at the time. Spoiler, I was never able to land the job in my field. So One of the worst parts of this whole thing is that while I was in college, I'm pretty sure that's around the time when content creation really started taking off and booming, and people were realizing like, oh, this is a career path, like I can do this as a job. I constantly had this thought in the back of my mind, and I know that this is a very common thought among anyone that's interested in being a content creator or a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer or anything like that. And the thought is, I'm too late. It's this idea that content creation is like this ocean of people now. It's not like it was when I was growing up where there were like a few people streaming video games on Justin TV. It's like now there's tons and tons and tons of people that you can watch. And why would someone watch me? I felt like I wasn't special or different enough to get noticed as a content creator. Like I didn't feel like I brought anything especially exciting to the table. You know, I just loved video games, and a lot of people love video games. About 2 years ago, I was finally just like, why don't I just try? Like, I'll try it. I felt like I owed it to my childhood self to at least try to pursue my original passions in life. And I don't know, I feel like I deserve a shot just like anybody else does. And so that's kind of what I felt like going into it. The first game I ever streamed was Hades, and I just pretty much had a couple real-life friends watching me play. I streamed to 1 or 2 viewers for at least like a few weeks, and I met some really nice regulars at the time who were very supportive of me starting my streaming journey, so that was really cool. Just the thought that anybody would want to watch me regularly, like on a regular basis, even if it was just one person, was almost unbelievable to me. After thinking for so long that nobody would ever want to watch me play video games, having people actually support my stream, it took me a while to actually like genuinely believe they were doing it because they liked my stream and not just because they like felt bad for me or something. But over the course of the past 2 years of my streaming career, I've built up a small but very mighty community that I am very, very appreciative of. If you're a member of my community watching this, I really hope that I bring joy to your life in some way. That's my ultimate goal, is making other people happy. I talked a lot more about my backstory than I originally intended to in this video, but I'm sure you guys are like, haha, Pasta went on a tangent again, haha, hee hee, Pasta goes tangent, ha. But I shared my backstory because it felt relevant to my, I guess, mission of this video and what I'm trying to accomplish with it. When I initially started streaming, I didn't have like a big master plan as to what my brand was gonna be, and like if I was gonna have a YouTube, or like what my main game would be, or what my content plan would be, and like etc, etc. And part of that, I think, comes from the type of content that I grew up with. I think that older content creation tended to feel less thought out and planned, and more kind of just like organic vlogging, like people kind of just doing what they want, and like nobody really had everything down to a formula or figured out yet. So it was very kind of like learn as you go, figure it out as you go type of thing. I realized that that would probably harm my growth in the long run, because it is a lot harder to succeed in the current content creation realm unless you really work on like your brand and branding yourself and having like playing into the algorithms and like the formulas and stuff like that. And so what that has meant for my stream is that it's very much just a mishmash of a bunch of different things, but doesn't have a clear direction. And so I was a Dead by Daylight streamer for a while. I was a Pokemon Unite streamer for a while. Now I'm playing a lot of Overwatch 2. I've always scattered in like a lot of indie games and just like random variety in my stream. I've cosplayed in the past. I really enjoyed cosplaying. I will sometimes do like tier lists with my community. So sometimes I do plan like certain days where I do cool stuff, but in general, I kind of just do whatever I feel like doing or play the games that I feel like playing. And so for the longest time, I always thought like my thing for my stream was that I like don't have a thing. I think that my lack of stream direction worked for me for a while, but it's finally getting to the point where it just feels bad not knowing like what exactly I want to or what I should be focusing my energy towards with my content. And it's funny because like this lack of direction that I'm feeling in my stream right now literally mirrors how I felt my entire life, just not feeling strongly pulled in any way. This is always how it's been for me. Just like nothing pulls me, nothing strikes me. One of my New Year's resolutions coming into 2023 was to start making more content outside of Twitch, so trying to upload consistent YouTube videos, just like post more on social media in general, stuff like that. So I recently started uploading this series called Pasta vs. Paldea, and it was my attempt to edit down my Pokemon Scarlet VODs into watchable YouTube videos, basically. One of the reasons completing that series was so important to me is that I have a really hard time watching myself back in any of my VODs, any of my streams. I have a hard time listening to myself. I don't think anything I say is funny, and a lot of the time I just think I'm super cringe. And from what I understand, I think that's a pretty common human experience. I think a lot of people hate the sound of their own voice. A lot of people hate watching themselves back. But after I uploaded part 3, I didn't want to continue the series. And it's because when I watched the series back, I just felt like I couldn't find myself in the videos. I don't know if that sounds like corny or pretentious, but it's true. I just didn't feel like I was in the videos. I realized that watching myself name Pokemon things like Bussy Slayer 666 wasn't really, it didn't feel like an expression of myself. Now that I'm saying all of this out loud, I think that maybe it sounds kind of silly, and I guess it is kind of silly that my Pokemon videos triggered like a mini existential stream crisis for me. I do think that there are elements of myself in those videos. Like, I think that the main thing that they showcase is like kind of my sense of humor, but it's like I don't think comedy is like what I bring to the table. Like, maybe I land the joke every once in a while that's not cringe, but I wouldn't say that like I'm trying to be like a comedian, you know? And it just triggered this spiral for me where I was like, well, if I don't even really see myself in the videos I'm editing, then how is any of my audience gonna get to see me, you know? And like get to see who I am. What I'm trying to say in this long ramble of a video is that I really want to start making content that feels like I'm expressing myself through it, and that feels more personal to me. I think part of what's happening is that because my stream doesn't have like a specific focus or branding or direction, and I kind of just do whatever, it makes it so that like when I try to express myself and like imbue myself into my content, there's no container for it. And so like that's why we end up, anyone who watches my stream knows that I tangent a lot, which is honestly, this video is starting to feel like a long ramble, so I apologize. But I'll just be playing like Overwatch or any given game, and I'll go on like an hour-long rant about capitalism or something. And so when I want to go to turn my streams into videos, a lot of the time it just like doesn't translate. The ultimate question for all of this then is like, what kind of content do I want to make? And it's funny because people in my stream will ask me that a lot when I'll be like, well, I don't know what game I want to play next. They'll be like, oh, well, what do you want to play? Just do what you want to do. Play what you want to play. A lot of the time I just feel like I don't know what I want or what I want to do. And it's honestly starting to make me think that maybe I don't fully know myself and I don't really know who I am entirely. And I think that some of that might be because of my lack of self-expression in my life. I think that if I never express myself, not only is it hard for other people to see who I am, but it's also hard for me to see who I am because I never get a chance to like actually see the things that I'm putting out into the world. Honestly, you can kind of see this lack of self-expression in my room too, if we're being honest. I feel like I've never really decorated any of my rooms in my life, and I don't know if that like makes me look weird or like seem weird, but I feel like I've never been able to figure out what I'd want to put on my walls. Like when I look at my own room, it doesn't really feel like my room. It just feels like it's a room. And I think that on a larger scale, that's kind of how I feel about my content. I don't mean to get like too personal here, but I think part of the reason why I have a hard time expressing myself is because I struggle a lot with not liking myself. And I feel like when you don't like yourself, you don't want to show yourself to the world. It created this tendency in me to like retract and like be as small as possible and like hide myself. So I want to try to start doing the opposite of that and just taking up space instead of trying to hide myself. I truly think that every person that exists has a uniqueness to them that is a positive contribution to the world. And I think that I just need to work on harnessing mine and figuring out what it is. And I don't want to keep hiding my uniqueness. I don't want to keep like trying to stay out of people's way. I want to start representing it and showing the world who I am. And I'm hoping that by working on expressing myself more through my content and in other areas of my life, that I can learn more about me. And in turn, I think that will improve my content too. So this video is my first attempt at trying to put more of myself out there and express myself more. I'm going to try my best to edit the video down into something coherent. I know that I have a tendency to be kind of scatterbrained and like move around a lot in my topics and thoughts. If you watch this all the way through, thank you. I really genuinely appreciate it. I hope that it gave you something of value, whether you can relate to some of it or it just helps you get to know me more. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. If you didn't enjoy it, then don't like it and don't subscribe. Please subscribe anyway, please. Whoa, gamers, wasn't that video poggers? Don't forget to smash that subscribe button for more wacky content from Pasta Ghost _.